Hi ladies, in this video we're going to go through the questions for 10G, which is using formulas. So we've been looking at equations up until now, and a lot of real life applications actually require you to use a formula, and you've probably been doing it without actually realizing it. So, when you're calculating the area of a square, which is length times length, or area of a rectangle, length times width, or the perimeter, which is 2 times length plus 2 times the width. They're all formulas that we use. So using formulas shouldn't be anything new to you. But just let's go through the key ideas before we go through some questions. So the subject of an equation is a pronumeral that occurs by itself on the left-hand side. So for this one here, t is our subject. Okay, t equals 4x plus 1. So t could represent anything. If we're looking at real life applications, often temperature is used using the letter t. But, you don't have to always use a letter that is the same as the variable. Okay, so this is just an example. A formula or rule is an equation that contains 2 or more pronumerals or variables, one of which is the subject of the equation. So as I said before, an area of a rectangle, area would be your subject, and the length and width are your other variables. To use a formula, first substitute all known values into the equation and then solve it to find the value of the unknown. Okay, which you've probably done before when you've used area formulas. Well, let's go ahead and do some questions together. All right, so question 2. Consider the rule h equals 2m plus 1. All right, so what we're going to do first of all is just some substitution. So I'll just get my pencil ready. So our rule is h equals 2m plus 1. So we want m equals 3. So everywhere I see m, I'm going to replace it with the number 3. So h equals 2, and I always put it in brackets. Okay, you could write 2 times 3, but I use brackets because when we come across negative numbers, it helps to separate it. And if I just wrote 2, 3, some people might read that as the number 23 when in fact it's 2 times 3. So just keep that in mind that they're not the same. All right, so 2 times 3 is 6, and then plus 1. So when m is equal to 3, h is equal to 7. All right, and then you can go ahead and do the same thing for m equals 4. Now let's have a look at question C. So we're going to find m if h is equal to 17. So this time we're actually substituting for h. So we're going to have 17 equals 2m plus 1. So just putting it in for h here. So 17 equals 2m plus 1. So we want to get m by itself. Now, I've done this before with you in videos and said, well, it's always a good idea to have the pronumeral on the left-hand side. So I tend to put it there at the start. So let's just rewrite it like that. It's a bit easier to read. Okay, but you don't have to. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is subtract 1. So remember, we get rid of our constants first. So then I'm left with 2m equals 16. And I'll just scroll down so I've got a bit of space. And this is 2 times m, so we need to divide by 2. So that cancels, and then we're left with m equals 8. And you can substitute back into the equation if you like. 2 times 8, 16, plus 1 gives you 17, and we know we've done it correctly. All right, let's have a look at the next question. So skipping a few of the easier ones to the harder questions in the chapter. So the formula for the area of a rectangle is A equals L times W, so length times width, where L is the rectangle's length and W is its width. Set up and solve an equation. So our equation is, just trying to get my pencil ready, area equals length times width. So we've got to substitute in A equals 20 and L equals 5. So wherever I see A, I'm going to put 20, and wherever I see L, I'm going to put 5. You can put times W if you like, but you can just do 5W. All right, so to get W on its own, we're going to divide both sides by 5. And I didn't put that 5W over to the left-hand side, but you could have done that. Whoops, I didn't put the division sign on. Let's just do that quickly. All right, so 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, so W is equal to 4. All right, so question B. We've got the same one. This time the area is 25, so I'm just going to do that over here. So area equals 25 and width equals 5. So we substitute into our area formula. So 20 equals 5 times L. Oops, not 20, it's 25. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Just give me a sec. Okay. There we go. Divide both sides by 5. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. So your length is 5. So if your length is 5 and your width is 5, the second part of the question asks, what type of rectangle is this? It's actually a square. Okay, so a square is actually a type of rectangle. We just have both sides the same. All right, let's move on to question 8. All right, so to convert between temperatures in Celsius and Fahrenheit, the rule is, so you'll know in Australia we use Celsius to measure temperature, and places like the United States of America use Fahrenheit. So you might, watch a movie and they talk about, oh, it's so hot, it's 100 degrees outside, and you might be sitting there thinking, what, 100 degrees? That is hot. And you think, but it can't be 100 degrees. Even 40 degrees is hot in Australia, and if it was 100, would probably be dead. But they're actually talking about Fahrenheit. So this formula here is just the conversion of Celsius into Fahrenheit. Okay, so let's have a look at our formulas. So A, we're going to find F is, if C is 20. I mixed my F and my C together and said phi. That's funny. All right, so when C equals 20, F is equal to 9 times C. So look at how I put C in brackets, or the 20 in brackets, divided by 5 plus 32. Now, you'd probably need to do this on your calculator, but you can, there's many ways you can make this easier for yourself, including doing 20 divided by 5, which is 4, and then 9 times 4. But let's just do this numerator. So 9 times 20 is 180 divided by 5. And why did I write 35? And I was about to write it again. So I'm working ahead, or I've got so many numbers in my head that I'm not concentrating. So girls, I hope you're thinking, why did she write 35? She should have written 32. All right, let's just make sure I've done that all correctly. All right, so 180 divided by 5 is going to give you 36, plus 32 is equal to 68. All right, so if it was 20 degrees Celsius outside, you'd know it's 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And at the moment, it's probably colder than 20, so it's definitely colder than 68 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, question B. So this time we're going to substitute in value of Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're going to have 50 equals 9C over 5 plus 32. Make sure I wrote it correctly this time. Now, we always get rid of our constant first, but if you want, you can put the C onto the left-hand side. So I might just do that first. All right, let's scroll to give us a bit. Oh, where's my pen? There we go. All right, so subtract 32 from both sides. Remember, we get rid of our constant first. And then we're left with 9C over 5 is equal to 50 minus 32, which is 18. And then we want to get rid of this divided by 5 by multiplying both sides by 5. So we're left with 9c equals 18 times 5, which is 90. And then divide both sides by 9. Nearly there. And your Celsius is 10, which is kind of what it feels like now. It's freezing. C equals 10. And you can put the degrees sign on. Okay, so when it is, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, it is 10 degrees Celsius. All right, question C, find the temperature in Celsius if it is 53.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're just substituting in for F again. Let's have a look at question D. So Mariko claims that the temperature in her cities varies between 68 Fahrenheit and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the difference in Celsius between these two temperatures? So for this one, girls, you already worked out what 68 is. So work out so when Fahrenheit is 68, Celsius is 20. Do the same for when Fahrenheit is 95, and then take the difference between the two. So I'm not going to do that because I feel like I want to keep these videos short, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So girls, if you have any trouble, please always ask during class. Okay, bye.